Petermann is superbly placed for the research project we're doing. It's at the southern end of the range for the gentoo penguin, the northern end of the range for the Adelie, and it just so happens that we also have a 100-year perspective on the populations here from the French expedition when Jean-Baptiste Charcot came here in 1909. But it happens also that the Antarctic Peninsula is one of the 3 places on the planet warming fastest. The warming here is 5 times the global average, so we're really here at the heart of the changes on the planet. And our little penguin friends are really having to deal with this.
So we go out into the field and we collect science on the birds around the island. Different data every day, but in a fairly consistent and routine manner. Generally, the same day that we collect data, we come back and enter into the computer. So it goes into a simple spreadsheet format, and it can then be analyzed directly upon its return.
In the 4 years in which we've been working here on Petermann, we've watched the Adelie population drop steadily. By the same token, the gentoos, which are also here on the island and have built up rapidly really in the last 20 years, they're still on the up. So the fascinating thing we're looking at is the difference in fortunes of these 2 penguins in a part of Antarctica which is subject particularly to rapid change with global warming.
It always boils down to 4 factors. And whether you're a human being or a penguin, you need to have food to eat, decent weather, a partner with which or with whom to reproduce, and you have to have a good home. And when I see changes happening to these animals, I immediately go to one of those 4 factors, and that's a clue into what might be happening with the Adelies. Their food might be changing, the weather certainly is changing. There seem to be enough nesting rocks for them, and there seem to be enough animals around for them to find mates. So it looks to be a food and a weather question. It's not going to be easy to solve, but we in the Oceanites team are onto it.
Penguins are essentially marine animals. They're seabirds. They depend on the ocean for their food supply. It's really their home. So by looking into the sea here and seeing how the underwater world is changing and trying to associate that with the changes they observe in the penguin colonies, we can get a better view of the big picture of changes going on here at Petermann. I'm planning to dive today right here in Circumcision Harbor. This is where the Pourquoi Pas was secured over the winter that Charcot spent here. I've dived this area for 5 years now, and in that time I've already been able to see a few changes. More algae growing on the bottom in some areas, for example, which I attribute to less sea ice cover during the winter. We also find penguins in the water here on occasion, if the water is very clear. And there's lots and lots of other interesting things to see, like big, beautiful anemones are fairly common here.
This is a microcosm of change. We are here, this project is devoted to creating those long-term data sets that will enable the managers of Antarctica, essentially the Antarctic Treaty Parties, to do what they're supposed to do under the treaty, to conserve Antarctica for posterity, to ensure that our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will have this laboratory of science and education available for them, just like it's available to us today.
Having the ships come in is a major reason that we've chosen this location. We know that tourists will visit this island, and for us, it allows us to sort of showcase some of the work we're doing. So we can speak to the passengers and the crew about the science that we're doing and share it with the world. Be good advocates and be good stewards of Antarctic science and Antarctic flora and fauna.